Welcome back. So, today we're going to be discussing the upcoming BR changes to War Thunder. It's not going to be the most exciting thing to look at because this is basically just a spreadsheet, but it is very interesting for me as somebody who plays War Thunder. So, we're going to start by looking at ground forces. I'm really only going to be going over realistic because I don't play arcade. I play realistic and I play sim. The other thing that I'm going to lead into this with is a lot of this seems to just be general quote unquote decompression, but I think it's a little bit misleading. And that might just be because of my personal take on decompression, which I guess I'll sum that up first. So basically, as far as I was concerned, if you went back like 3 or 4 years, right, to right before the T-64s came out and right before like Cold War stuff really started coming out, 6.7 was probably the main area of the game that I played. So this was back when the Tiger II Slaw was 6.7, the British lineup was like 6.7, 7.0, and it was all the Centurions and Carnarvon and all that. Um, I think the IS-6 was like 7.0 at that point. It was either, I think it was 7.0 and it went up to 7.3. Anyway, the point is, when talk of decompression came about, I always felt that World War II and earlier was a solved quantity, where it was in a good state and it didn't need to be changed. That what needed to be decompressed was everything after World War II. So once you got into like the 7.0 range, the 8.0 range, the 9.0 range, all of that, because at the time we didn't really have 11.0 and all that jazz. I felt like all of that needed to be decompressed, and what I feel like they've done in the last couple BR updates is they've taken a lot of things that were in a decent spot in World War II and they've moved them up, and the area of the game that needs to be decompressed is the area right in the middle of the Cold War. So think like the 1970s-ish area, right? Where at that BR you're seeing the earliest stuff in the Cold War and you're seeing stuff that's from like the 90s and it feels kind of bad. Um, that's the area where I think they need the most decompression and the most separation. But I feel like that's the area that's getting the most compressed whenever they make these changes, because they're basically taking things all the way from like the 1.0 range all the way up to like the 10-11 range and just moving things up. And I think they could have focused primarily on things from like the start of the Cold War. So like your Leopard 1s, your IS 4s, like that kind of BR range, and up, and focused on spacing those out. That being said, let's get into the BR changes that we're actually getting. And we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up because the area of the game I mostly care about is down here at the bottom. So, probably the biggest change for me on this, well, okay, there's two that are particularly big for me, but one of the biggest ones for me on this list is the AGS. It's going from 10.3 to 11.0, but they're adding the M833, which I think is really interesting. I like the AGS a lot. I think it's a really good tank. I like having the remote turret. I mean, it's effectively like a striker, like a wolf pack, but on tracks. I don't know if 833 is going to be enough to merit it going to 11. It's certainly an interesting change. I just don't know if I like it. I feel like it could have stayed at 10.3 and not gotten 833, or it could have gone somewhere in between. But I feel like 11's a pretty big leap. But we'll see. I'm sure it'll perform alright. The problem that I think it's going to run into is it's a very thin-skinned vehicle, so if you're playing in dips where you just poke the remote turret up, you can be pretty effective. But that's also assuming that there's nothing top attack that comes down on you. Going up from there, the Type 81 is going from 10.0 to 11.0, which is a huge leap. I'm a little bit surprised by that, but I guess it is what it is. The Strela is going from 9.3 to 9.7. Now that I appreciate. This is the other, at least for me, big change. The Strelas, at least in my experience lately, have been an absolute menace. Where it doesn't matter if you pre-flare, it doesn't matter if you flare after launch, it doesn't even really seem to matter if you maneuver. Those missiles will find you, and they will get you. So it's nice to see it going up a little bit. At least that'll save some of the lower BR planes that could potentially get up-tiered into it from having to deal with it. The Falcon is once again going up. The Falcon's one of those vehicles where, because of its playstyle, I feel like it doesn't matter where they put it. It basically, it always wants to get the side of you, and if it gets the side of you, you're done. And even a lot of tanks, if it gets the front of you, you're done. It's one of those AA guns that's masquerading as an AA gun, but what it really is an anti-everything machine. It's an awesome vehicle, and I love seeing them on my team. I just don't like running into them. But with the gun that it has, it could be at 6.7 or it could be at like 12.0, and I don't think it would make a difference. It's going to do the same thing. That being said, I mean, it going up kind of just is what it is. I don't remember if the British have an 8.0 lineup, so I'm not sure if this is going to break a lineup. But I don't think they have an 8.0 lineup. I don't play that much Britain, though, so... I mean, I have a lot of the left side of their tech tree, but I'm not a Britain main by any means. The EBR's going up again. It seems pretty common, but it seems like they're moving a lot of the 7.7 French vehicles up, so it seems like it's just a sweeping change with Char 25T, the AMX 50, Tone 90, the Soma, and the EBR, so that's fine. The Eland is going up, which is fine. It's actually a surprisingly good vehicle. I played it a lot with Israel when they first came out, and even though it seems like it should just get shredded and like it's a little Ratmobile, and to be fair, it is a little Ratmobile, it's actually really fun. It's pretty zippy, and the gun is pretty potent at its BR. Even at 7.7, I think it'll perform fine. The ML90's going up, T95's going up, Type 99's going up. There are very few vehicles on this list that are going down. The AMX M4, the other EBR, okay, that's only in arcades, so that's not a big deal. Then the T20, see, a lot of these lower tier ones, I don't frequently play down there anymore. I used to, and every once in a while I'll go down there, but I don't know. Every time that I play down at like 5.3 or 6.7 or 4.3, I feel like the game's pretty much in the same state that it was, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm not sure why they think they need to change up the BRs so much down there. But I'm sure that there are people that main those BRs, and I'm sure that they have, very strong opinions because they play with those things all the time. And if you're one of those people, you can let me know what you think of these changes. My focus is mostly on things from 6.7 up. It probably is a good thing, though, that the Leopard is going up. It got put in at a very interesting spot, and I'm honestly surprised it stayed down there as long as it has. Gotta love Stewart's going up as well. in my experience, whenever I play down, the Stewarts are like the top dog. They're like little go-karts that can pen anything they want. They're really fun. Highly recommend. Anyway, let's move on to aviation. So, we're finally getting 12.7 in planes, which is awesome. So, we're seeing the Gripens, the F-16, the J-11, the Su-27, the Mirage 4K, the MiG-29, SMT in particular. The Mirage 2000, they're all going up. Although the Mirage 2000 is only going up to 12.3, whereas all of the other ones I mentioned, they're all going up to 12.7, which is honestly a good thing. Let's see. Although likewise, there are things that are also moving up along with them. So the JH-7A is going from 11.3 to 11.7, so it's still going to see top tier, which is a shame. The J8's going from 11.7 to 12.0, so that'll be good for things that are at 10.7. It's not going to affect the J8 very much, though. It's still going to see top tier, and it already was seeing top tier. And the Mirage 2000 CS5, it's going up to 12.0, but again, that's not really going to affect it a whole lot. Interestingly, the Sagittario is also going up. I feel like the Sagittario isn't as devastating as it once was. When it first came out, it was a monster, but for all the maneuverability that it has, since it continues to see fairly high-end IR missiles, and it has no flares, it can be a very hit-or-miss experience. If you get out there and nobody really shoots high-end missiles at you, so, you know, they're shooting like AIM-9Es and you can just outturn those, you'll probably have a pretty good time. But when they start shooting IR missiles that can actually turn, there's really not a whole lot you can do in the Sagittario other than just not be in range to get shot at. The F-5Es are also going up to 11.0. Kinda is what it is. As long as you're decent with the guns, it's a pretty effective plane, so I'm sure it'll perform fine. Going up against 12.0s, I really don't like the idea of. I do feel like it's pretty heavily outclassed. But at the same time, no, actually, I just don't think it should go up. Like, a lot of the 9.7s these days perform pretty well, so I mean, if they're moving everything, it's probably fine. But I would be happier. I'm just thinking like the Harrier I think is a 9.7, and I think it's pretty fine competing against an F-5E. The Yak-38 is like a 9.3. Trying to think what else is around that BR, but the point is there are other planes that are pretty effective in the 9.3 to 9.7 range. There are a lot of planes that really aren't very effective there, but I think that requires a much more, I don't know, comprehensive change of BRs that would require a lot of planes to move up and some planes to move down, and it would probably require the cap to be higher than 12.7, and since we only creep up in BR, that's not liable to happen anytime soon. Anyway, the J-29 is going down to 8.3, so flying barrel stonks going up. F9, F5 going down to 8.0. That's actually a really fun line. The old American Navy jets, I like them a lot. Their 20 mils can be devastating once you upgrade them so they're not spraying everywhere. J6K is going up. Let's see. Bombers going down. That's probably a good thing for them. I'm curious to see where bombers end up this year. there's a lot of them that are in really rough positions, but I don't think changing their BR can really fix the issue that bombers have. I think it would require a comprehensive rework of Air Realistic, which, to be fair, we're probably overdue for. It hasn't gotten any major changes in basically its entire lifespan, basically since the game came out. Like, adding jets is a big change, but that's not really a change to Air Realistic itself. That's just an addition of more vehicles to the game. I mean, like, mechanically, the way that it functions. They'd have to change the way that, like, bomber targets work, and they'd have to change the way that bombers spawn and the way that interceptors spawn. And, you know, there's a lot that I could probably make a whole video going into different things that they could do to make bomber gameplay more interactive and more interesting and more rewarding. Let's see, the J2M4 is going, or the J2M4 is going up in arcade. The J2M2 is going up. That's fine. The J2s are usually pretty strong. I like them. The UR2 going down. The A6M5 Co's going up. I might be wrong, but I think it was a 5.3 at one point, but I might be thinking of a different Zero variant. Regardless, the J2M5's going up. That should be fine. Again, the J2 series is usually pretty good. I like them, so it shouldn't be an issue. And the Corsairs are going down. A bunch of the lower tier attack planes and bombers are going down. The P-51 D-20s are going down. The D-10's going down. All in all, it looks pretty good. This is more in line with what I was talking about with Ground before, about how I think the lower tiers are doing alright and the higher tiers are what needed to be decompressed. Where here you see a lot of the lower tiers are going down and pulling away from the higher tiers, and a lot of the higher tiers are going up. Whereas with ground forces, it's just across the board, everything's just going up. Which I don't necessarily think decompresses things, I think you're just moving things up. But it is what it is. I'd have to also look at it with the changes that they did in the last two sets, because when you put it all together, it might actually be spacing things out more than I think it is. Anyway, on to the fleet. There's only a few changes here. Most vehicles are going up, but the Kuruma is going down very slightly. The Spukioni, the Nostroshimi, the Blagradny, and the Yubari are all going up, but it's all just one BR step, so it shouldn't affect them too much. I'm pretty sure that 5.3 is still outside most of the battleship BRs. There might be a few of the early ones there, but the reloads are so long that I don't think it's actually that big of a deal, especially for something like a Spukioni or a Nostroshimi. They should just be able to maneuver out of the way, as long as they're paying attention. And it looks like we're getting a change to the sim rotation. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like they're changing this area right up here at the top. Looks like everything else is staying the same. So right now, rotation 1 gives you 10-7 to 11-3, 11-7 to 12-3, where the new rotation 1 will be 10-7 to 11-7, and 12-0 to 12-7. I think this is just because of the new BR changes. I think the interesting area is this down here in rotation 3 and 4, where you're getting a 10-0 to 10-7, and then an 11-0 to 11-7, and a 12-0 to 12-7. I kind of like that, the smaller BR range. Those matches are usually pretty fun. I guess the downside is you're kind of restricting what can go into one of these battles, but like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It's good because you're tightening up the allowances for them, so you're going to see more competitive things. But at the same time, I understand that that can also be a limiting factor for if you can even make it into a sim match. It is what it is. I don't think it's going to be a huge change. And to be fair, the sim community in War Thunder is not particularly large. So, it is what it is. So, let me know down below what you think of the upcoming changes. I think it's good that we're getting a BR increase in aviation, although I think most of the changes are very minor. As per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.